You're never gonna survive like in the world. That's how she like, she doesn't say hi. Yeah. She like leads it right like that. Oh. Did you see this Grinch? In this one, no one, right? Who's down there?
Jess, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you are
What's that?
you are you able to turn on and off your video?
It's not giving me the option to.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Promote to panelist. Huh. All right, can you show your video now? There you go. Okay, so I made you a panelist, which I think should be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I don't anticipate participating, right? Like I don't
Right.
know anything about this stuff, which is part of why I told Mary Ellen I wanted to try to pop on and just to
Sure.
listen and learn, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we have now over 200 people registered, so I'll be interested to see how many people actually join
Wow.
us. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think we did one of these in June and had a similar number of people registered, and then
Okay.
probably had about 100 people show up. So I'm interested to see how many people log on tonight.
Yeah.
But it should be good. I mean, this is one of the first times we're gonna highlight churches that are actually doing the learning centers, and I think it'll give people really a unique perspective on what actually is going on. You know, that a lot of people are unaware of these learning centers, so I think people would be excited to look more into it.
That's great.
So
So what do you, I know you, like you said, if something goes wrong technically, that I like, well,
yeah, I mean, that's if you could be a co-host.
Mhm.
And at this point, I don't necessarily know. I mean, I don't expect an issue.
Yeah, I mean,
So I
and
don't.
like I said, like I'm willing to do anything. Like I've just never done that before, so I would just want you to.
Yeah, well, I wonder as a panel. Oh, make host. Okay, I can make you a co-host. Okay.
Okay. Maybe
So
it's
I'm going to make you a co-host. Okay. So now you are a co-host, which means you should be able to share stuff and which you won't necessarily need to do that, but in case, I don't know. I mean, I did a webinar a long time ago and I had an emergency I had to take care of at the very beginning of it. So
Oh, no.
Thankfully, there was another co-host that could take over.
Yeah,
But yeah, now you're co-host, so that's good.
okay.
You've
And
been,
this is recording right now.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, I'm gonna share my screen. I just want to verify if you can see certain things, so I'm gonna share PowerPoint.
Yep. I mean, that's showing me the whole screen. It's not showing the slideshow yet.
All right.
But I can see what's on your, looks like what's on your, in your
So
power.
do you see that?
Yep, that's just the slide.
You see the
That's
slide?
Yeah, just
Okay.
the slide, not like the gray background, which is good.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, okay. All right, so now I want to show a different PowerPoint. PowerPoint. Where is the other PowerPoint? Show all windows. I'm just trying to find. I thought I had. Yeah, I have these two Word documents open. And I have this. All right. I'm just trying to find this PowerPoint here, so give me a second.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm playing with my camera settings because I have a new computer and this is the first time I've done a zoom on it. And so
Okay.
my lighting is like super bright.
Gotcha. Oop. It's closed. Okay. Okay, this is better. So why can't I? Okay. Okay. So you can see those?
Yep, perfectly. Like that's just showing the slide right now. Just looks great.
All right. What's up, Steve?
Hey there, good afternoon,
How you
or evening
doing?
now.
Yeah. We're just making sure we have everything ready here.
Awesome.
I have Steve, I have your slideshow right here. So Steve, let me know if you can see this.
I'm looking at the current slides.
Okay, you see your slide right there?
No, that's not mine. You have to stop sharing one and share the other, or however you're.
Your screen sharing is paused. Oh, that's weird. All right, hold on. I'm gonna try again.
Sure. Yeah, I had to send it in that format, and then I noticed the size of the file was kind of preventing me, so unfortunately, when they were sent over to me. Yep, there you go. Now I see them. Awesome. Yep. I took off a lot of the photos to kind of shrink the file down, but good.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, looks like you guys are doing some fun stuff down there.
Yeah, going very well.
Good. All right. So I was telling Jess from our office that we have 203 people registered, so I'll be interested to see how many people. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So there's Homer. Homer, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. It's good to be here.
Yeah. We're just
That's quite a number.
yeah, so I always like to be a glass half full kind of guy. I'll be very pleased if we get over 100. We had 203 registered, so
Well, I think back in June, you mentioned there were over 200 registered and you got about 135, I think, or something like that. So
yeah, I think that sounds about right. So
Oh.
we'll see what we have, but we have a good group already joining us here. And to that group that's joined us, we'll get started at 8 o'clock. So hang tight. Looking forward to a really wonderful hour of highlighting 5 learning centers in Massachusetts, at 5 really great churches, South Shore, North Shore, South Central, North Central, and Western. So is that Laura?
Hello.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
Hi, doing pretty well. How are you?
Good. Good. Thanks for joining us. We're gonna get started here around 8 o'clock. Let some more attendees join us as well. We had 203 people register, so I'm expecting a good 100 probably to join us on the webinar.
Great. That's great.
Yeah. Laura, guys, is from Fitchburg, from Horizon Fellowship. So our north central representation.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's great to be here with you guys.
yeah,
So you're out there with George Noyes, I believe. So
George Small.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah.
George Small, yes, that's our pastor. Yes.
Yes, he's a great guy. I was in a prayer group with him way back in the 90s. So when he
Oh,
first got here,
That's great.
before he started the radio station,
Yeah, way back in the day.
way back.
Now it's all radio.
Well, it's really great. I mean, it's have Christian radio out there. It was a big deal. You were out there too, Michael. You were at Trinity, weren't you? It was called Twin City. Twin Cities, yeah.
Yeah. We had the radio station 1000 AM. I don't know, Laura, does that still exist? 1000 AM?
It does. I believe it does. I don't know. I think it's a Christian station still. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we have some more people joining us. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, guys, to advertise a keyword that we want to advertise tonight. So let me do that. All right. Beginning. Yeah, so for those that are joining us, I just want you guys to take a look here at this keyword, text the word school option to 87891. Tonight's webinar is kind of a kickoff to a tour, a learning center tour that we will be hosting in the winter of 2023, in an in-person learning center tour of the 5 learning centers that you're going to hear from tonight. We are going to do kind of a show and tell tour, open house tour, where you can kind of look and see what's going on at these different learning centers. You know, no one learning center is the same. They all have a different approach to what they do. So you'll get an idea of that tonight. But if you want to get a link to the PDF for where these learning centers are located, text the word school option to 87891. Text the word school option to 87891. And I'll have this up on the screen at different times tonight. But when you text the word school option to 87891, you will not only get a link to over 100 different school alternatives to the public schools in Massachusetts. You'll get a great information on homeschooling, but also you will get a link to our events page on our website, and you'll find this PDF. And this has 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5. We have yet to schedule the 5th. I think that's with you, Laura. We're waiting on, I think, George to, which no worries. We'll get that scheduled, but you guys can see the different times and locations that this learning center tour will be. Most of these are going to be in March, but they're all on Saturday mornings from 8:30 to 12:30. And you can see the different locations there. So again, if you want to get that particular information, text the word school option to 87891 for more information. So I'm just gonna, it's about 8 o'clock here. I just want to see how many people are joining us here so far. So we'll give it a little more time. It's just 8 o'clock now. So we'll give it a couple more minutes. We have Pastor Elise joining us. Good to see you, Elise. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I got your pictures and such. Let me just verify with you, Elise. Make sure we have everything here ready to go. Can you see that, Elise?
Yes.
Boy, that's great.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. So we're gonna, I don't know why it's being a little slow, but
Yeah, I think it's because it has a lot of images. But so that was a large file. My
Yeah.
apologies.
No, that's okay. We enjoy pictures. They tell the story. So all right, well, just, yeah, people seem to be coming in here a little more quickly, so give it maybe a couple more minutes, get started around 8:03. This is being recorded as well, so that I mentioned before we had about 203 people register for this event, so I'm sure we have about 203 emails that will email you guys a link to the webinar, a recording of it, so that you can share that with others, because we definitely want to get the word out to parents that there are some really wonderful education options for you if you are looking for something outside of the public school. We're also waiting for all of our panelists to get here. So we have Pastor Nadworny. Welcome, Pastor Nadworny. Good to see you.
How you doing? Sorry, I just figured this thing out.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. We're all used to meeting in person. We've all had to learn these new technologies. But glad you're joining us. So we have Danvers, Worcester, Fitchburg, Plymouth, and we're waiting on Westfield. So there's Adam. Okay, we have Adam with us. So one more panelist here, and then we can get started. We're just waiting for Jean from Westfield. They have a learning center out there in Westfield that started this fall, and they had, I think, 50 students to start. So they're one of the bigger learning centers. So they've been doing a great job. So, and we'll start, Adam and Homer, we'll start with you guys, probably start with Adam first and then go to Homer. And then we'll get into our learnings, our different learning centers. I think what we'll do is we'll start with Fitchburg, and then we'll probably go Plymouth, Danvers, Worcester, Westfield in that order. And And if you guys sent me photos or anything, I'll share the screen with those as well. But let's give it one more minute. We still have some attendees coming in and waiting for Jean from Westfield. Hopefully she'll show up in the next minute or two here. But again, want to welcome you guys as you're coming in. And I want to share my screen. Want to encourage all of you to text the word school option to 87891. And you will get some great information on school alternatives, on education alternatives, like learning centers. You'll also get some great information on homeschooling. And then lastly, you'll get a link to this. You'll get a link to this on our event page. Tonight is really a kickoff to a learning center tour that's happening this winter, 2023, where we will hold in-person seminars at the 5 different learning centers you're going to hear from tonight, where they'll give an open house, if you will, of a show and tell of what they're doing for their individual learning center. And so please, we've tried to plan these at 5 strategic geographic locations in Massachusetts. So we got North Shore, South Shore, North Central, South Central, and Western Mass. And you can see 4 out of 5 of these have already been scheduled. They're all on Saturday mornings from 8:30 to 12:30. And you can see there Westfield, Plymouth, Worcester, Danvers, and then we're going to schedule Fitchburg as well. But if you text the word school option to 87891, you will get a link to that information. So please do that tonight if you haven't already. And if you've already texted the word school option 87891, I encourage you to do it again, because you'll get the link to the Learning Center tour. So please do that. Okay, so why don't we get started here? And we'll start here with Dr. Rondeau, who has been really spearheading a lot of this movement where parents are getting fed up with the public school. They're getting fed up with CRT. They're getting fed up with mask mandates. They're getting fed up with social emotional learning surveys. They're getting fed up with sex education that is explicit and pornographic. They just want reading, writing, arithmetic. And the schools are, as you all know, too woke for too many parents, and they're looking for alternatives. So welcome to our Learning Center Alternative webinar, and we'll be highlighting 5 learning centers tonight. We are working with 30 churches that are either started a learning center or want to start a learning center. So Dr. Rondeau, like I said, has been at the center of a lot of this. And if you are listening tonight from a church, or or just you yourself maybe want to start a learning center. I was talking to a grandmother the other day that was thinking about starting a learning center in her living room. Okay, so this doesn't have to be, in a traditional building. Okay, it can be really anywhere. So if that's on your heart to do something like that too, please get in touch with me. We'll put you in touch with the right people, because there is a public school exit going on. And I think, to reclaim education, that the family and the church can reclaim, education for our children. I think that's a good thing. So without any further ado, I introduce to you Dr. Rondeau. Why don't you tell us what you've been up to and give us kind of your vision moving forward.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. If my surroundings look a little different, I'm actually coming to you from my car tonight. So my apologies if things look a little different. And if there's an extra glare on my forehead, I'm sorry. But it's a privilege to join this webinar tonight. I have just been passionate for the past few years to work together with Massachusetts Family Institute and churches and other people who can create an option for children to exit the public school. And I know that Michael was saying that, it's so important. Parents just want reading and writing and arithmetic, but I also talk to a lot of parents who want more than that. They also want Jesus in the picture. And that's what I am most passionate about, Christian education. You know, Jesus said to go and make disciples of all nations, and education equals discipleship. And the discipleship that the education that children receive is their discipleship for life. And it's time that the home and the church started to really take that back and really become purposeful in our desire to transform lives. And a learning center is a phenomenal option to do that. It takes the best of homeschooling and helps to create a school-like environment to give so that students don't miss out on anything. They still have what they need. Mom and dad don't have to go it alone. You can get support from your church. You can get support from family members. You can get support from others. There's so many options and so many things that are available. And I just want to encourage you to do that. If you're on this webinar, there's a possibility. I mean, I'm not even kidding when I say, and Michael could probably agree, I've talked to maybe hundreds of people around the state of Massachusetts in the past few years, just trying to encourage them and cast a vision for this. And the most important thing I could say is that you can do it. We can help. So if you're worried about doing it, don't be worried. You're going to hear from people tonight who are doing it and making it work. And it's a good thing. And it's rescuing children from education that is empty of Christ, and it takes Jesus, puts it back in the picture, and gives a good solid discipleship for life. I don't want to go too long because we got a lot of great people that are going to do a lot of great talking tonight. But if I can do anything to be of service to you or your church, do not hesitate to reach out. I am happy to do so. Thank you, Mike.
Awesome, Dr. Ando. Great to have you with us from your car. We never know where you're going to visit us from. It looked like a scene out of Star Trek. I thought you were on some spaceship somewhere, but no, you're doing great work, and you're absolutely right. Anybody can do it, and we're going to hear from people tonight that have been doing it. So let's go to Homer Allen, who has been really an entrepreneur over the past 3 or 4 decades, or not, if not more, in Christian education. Homer, why don't you give us your vision and what's going on, and when you want me to share those documents you sent over, just let me know.
Sure. It's good to be here. Some time ago, I've started Christian schools and worked in Christian schools. Now I consult. I was out at Veritas Christian Academy, which is out in Wayland, Massachusetts. And they're being overrun with parents, and they don't have any more space, that want to put their kids in their school around the Wellesley-Wheaton area, or the Wellesley-Weston area. But why do I bring that up? This summer, I was with Adam and I are working together around something called Homeschool New England. And it's on the web. We can talk about that just in a second. But we really felt in prayer that the Lord say to us, this is a rescue mission to get the kids out of the public school, and what God is doing to really bring the children to a safe place where they can grow in Christ and learn. So in that capacity, Adam and I got together under Mass Family Institute, is really been a huge blessing to us. We started Homeschool New England. It's a nonprofit organization. It's free. And our whole purpose is to help you, help pastors, help people, help the parents particularly, start learning centers and pods all over the state for free. So you can go to that at homeschoolnewengland.org. It's a .org. And if you want to get any information, we have 2 pieces. If you bring that up, Michael, that'd be great. We have 2 pieces of information we'd like to offer you for free. We will email it to you. There is the Homeschool, which this is considerations for parents and pastors to start a homeschool learning center. And you can get that simply by going to homeschoolnewengland@gmail.com. It's a Gmail, so just attach Gmail to Homeschool New England, and you'll get us, and we will email this directly to you. As I said, everything we do is for free, and it's we believe, important to let give you the information you need. We're finding out that parents are a different type of homeschool parent, as I'm sure many of you know. They're parents that haven't researched this. They've never wanted to be homeschool parents. They've never even thought about that. But what is going on in the public schools has drawn them to realize that God wants them to take their children out, and they just want someone to come beside them. And with Mass Families and Adams and help, we've started Homeschool New England. So we're here to help. That's their key purpose. We walk you through the key steps that you need to have in order to open a homeschool or come into a community that already is there. Start a pod, start a learning center, whatever you choose. So we're happy to send that. And it's sort of a step ladder that will walk you through the steps about curriculum, about possible ways to, we have something that's unique. And I'll close with this. It's called a Bent Survey. The Bent Survey will have available in January of 2023. The bent of your child, train up a child in the way he should go. The way is considered by some is a translation, the bent of your child, the uniqueness of your child. That's part of trying to decide what curriculum you want to use. So we encourage you once again to go to Homeschool New England at gmail.com, and we're happy to send out whatever and start a relationship with you that will cost you absolutely nothing. And we're greatly appreciative of Mass Family being the promoters of this, because we really feel the more that they get on board, the more we can get kids out of the school into a safe environment. So God bless you.
Awesome. Thank you, Homer. And so definitely, guys, Homer and Adam are starting out our webinar tonight because they've really been at the center of really consulting, educating churches to, help them start these learning centers. So if you didn't get their information, if Homer or Adam, you want to put your stuff, your contact information in the chat and share that with everyone, that'd be great. All right, so let's go to, now we're going to do kind of a show and tell with the different learning center representatives that are with us tonight. So we're going to start in Fitchburg. Oh, I think did we lose? Oh, there we go. Laura, okay. It was like musical chairs and you switched your box on me. I don't know what happened there, but anyway. Laura, we're going to go to you. You're leading the Learning Center in Fitchburg. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your Learning Center?
Yeah, awesome. All right. Thank you guys all for having me so much. My name is Laura Sargent, and I'm the administrator for Horizon Learning Center, which is based out of Horizon Christian Fellowship in Fitchburg. So just a little bit about how this got started. I have been praying about Christian education for years, actually. It's just been on my heart. I used to work in childcare briefly. And then our pastor as well, he has been praying about it. And so he just said, let's get together and talk about this. And we started developing a vision. And our vision in starting the program was to assist parents in pulling their students out of the public school system, like we just talked about, and assist them in providing a Christian education. Many parents have expressed that they would love to homeschool, but they aren't sure where to begin. And others express that they work part-time or full-time and they're not able to be home with their child each day. So our hope was that the Learning Center would be able to provide the space, supervision, and support that families need for students that otherwise may not be able to be homeschooled. So we opened our doors September 6th. And we currently have 7 students enrolled, ranging from kindergarten to 8th grade. And we're a full-time program operating Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. And so a little bit about our daily operations. The curriculum that we've chosen for this year is BJU Press Homeschool, which is a division of Bob Jones University. And this is a hybrid curriculum that presents daily video lessons, which are streamed online, and students have workbooks that they complete on paper. This curriculum has actually been awesome for the Learning Center environment. There's a real user-friendly portal that the students use, and then the parents can also log in on their end. But we have noticed that the courses are a bit more rigorous than we expected. So students have struggled a bit here and there with keeping up with the workload. But thankfully, we've seen some improvement in the last couple weeks. So that's been encouraging. As far as parent involvement, parents are still considered the homeschooling teacher. Our volunteers are not responsible for assessing progress or tutoring in subjects that students may be struggling in. That all still falls on the parents. But BJU has an online portal, like I mentioned, so parents should be logging into that daily to see their child's progress and plan time to study for upcoming exams. The online portal is also a great tool for parents and students to actually see their grades, and then they can be aware of subjects that students may need to focus more on. So parent involvement is still definitely a work in progress. We would love to have a little bit more involvement, but we're just all kind of learning how to best communicate with each other. So we're kind of taking this first year and see how it goes. As far as a typical day goes, our students arrive at 8:30. We have a morning meeting where we have a devotional and prayer every morning. We're really intentional about that. It's just awesome that we can actually do that in this school environment where the public schools are totally against it. After that, students work independently all morning. They have one break, and then they break for lunch at noon, and they have lunch and recess for an hour. Then we return to the classroom and work independently again, and then we have dismissal at 3 p.m. And twice a week we have a chapel time from 11:30 to 12. And as far as cost goes, parents are fully responsible for purchasing the curriculum, which the one that we've gone with is about $1,000 per student for the year. And then the Learning Center charges $100 a month for program tuition. So just a little bit of reflection of the year so far. Like I stated, one of our main goals in launching the program was to enable parents to pull their children out of the public school system. And of our 7 students, 2 of them came directly from the public school system, and they are in 6th grade, 2 of our students. And on top of that, these 2 students each came from families with 1 unsaved parent. And we were just surprised and amazed that the Lord opened the door for these families particularly. So we're praying for these, the unsaved parents for sure. And we're just praying that this program would just somehow be able to draw them to the Lord. And specifically the Christ-centered curriculum that we've chosen, that we would just see the fruit of that within these families. So that's a praise report for sure. And then another thing would be, another goal that we had was to support families that aren't able to homeschool on their own. And God has definitely fulfilled that goal. Of our current enrolled students, we have some full-time working parents, we have some single parents, and we have custodial grandparents that would otherwise not be able to be in the position to homeschool their children. So that's a little bit about our center. We do have a rolling admissions process, so students can be accepted anytime, though there may be a little bit of a waiting period as they wait for their curriculum material to come in. If you have any questions for me or would just like to chat, my email is learningcenter@horizonfitchburg.org, and I can put that in the chat for you guys.
That's awesome. So definitely get in touch with Laura if you are in the Fitchburg area. Doing some great things there at Horizon Christian Fellowship. So Laura, thank you so much for sharing what you guys are doing there. If we could, I know I have dogs, but I don't think those are my dogs. So, all right, let's go down to Plymouth, and we have Stephen Charbonneau. You guys got the vision for your learning center at the beginning of May 2022, and by the fall, so 4 or 5 months later, you guys were up and running. So tell us about what's going on in Plymouth.
All right, good evening, everybody. And yeah, thank you very much, Michael, for that introduction. We actually started our homeschooling pod after Michael made a visit to New Hope Chapel in Plymouth. When he came and gave a speech at night, we left that speech, came out into the lobby, looked at Michael and said, all right, this is exactly what we're looking for. And I was in the process of wondering whether or not I wanted to continue as a professor at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island. I had it with the woke and CRT, DEI, extremism in the military. The military has gone the wayward way of the school systems, the same way. So it doesn't stop just at there. And so in July, I resigned. We took this on, and yes, we started this up in a couple, 3 months. And so we went at laser speed. So we are the New Hope Learning Pod at New Hope Chapel in Plymouth, Mass. On 89 Court Street, right downtown. I am the team lead for an original leadership team of 3 that has now expanded to 8 coaches across 3 podlets, we call them, or 3 separate groups. Our mission has been and will continue to be just to encourage and support those concerned biblical-minded parents, in executing that alternative education option that they were looking for their children, both in the academic and spiritual development. And that hasn't changed. And I will tell you that we had an overwhelming response when we started this up. We started out with 25 students, though, as opposed to the original 50 to 75 we thought we were going to have. But I'm here to tell you all, I'm very grateful we are at 25 to begin with because of the space and the effort that goes into this. And let me explain why. Ours is a parent-led student pod, a learning pod, and a parent-led curriculum. We meet once a week on Thursdays. So, as Laura was just explaining to you just a little bit herself, we also have that issue of parent involvement and discipline and sticking with the curriculum. So there's just so many successes that we talk about and some concerns I'll address in a little bit, but it is parent-led. We meet on the Thursdays to execute Thursday's curriculum. However, it's turned into much more than that. And we are there to not only coach, but we tutor in different areas. We talk with the parents. We work on areas that they're concerned about. And, but yes, just like Homer, you were talking about, and Adam, we were very concerned about the biblical worldview of the Christ-like curriculum that we have. And so we chose from the very beginning, My Father's World, along with supplements from master books in math and science. That was one of the biggest concerns going in, and what we decided up front, we were going to have one curriculum for all the parents to buy into, so that way we could make it easier for us as a coaching staff to be able to administer those Thursdays. Thank the Lord that we did, because it is complicated enough already. And so let me tell you how we've broken that out. We have 3 different podlets. The adventurers are the K through 2. We have the explorers, which are 3 through 8th graders. And then one coach, that's me for the high schoolers. Luckily, at this point, I only have 3 10th graders. So I am their chemistry, math. So that's geometry, algebra, pre-algebra, algebra for the younger kids. Luckily, I have some assistance from the pastors on the Bible studies, thankfully. And in fact, today, not only is our head pastor, Pastor Neil, involved in the Bible studies portion, but even like today, his son, who's also a pastor in his mid-20s, he was able to come in on a very tough topic in 1 Corinthians when we were talking about the tougher parts of sexual immorality, incest, all the things that were a little bit tougher. So it was wonderful to be able to bring the pastors in. We meet from 8:30 to 3:15. We stagger the dismissal for the younger ones and then to the older ones to help out just a little bit. We started out at 4:30 as a dismissal for the older students, but we found out immediately it was too long a day. They looked like zombies. We enacted a quick change about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it's worked out tremendous. It makes it a little tough to get in everything that we want to get into. 25 students, as I said. We have some room still for high schoolers. A couple are looking at joining with us. We're looking at doing that. So really, we meet only once a week on Thursdays, but as you can see here from the slides that I gave to Michael, we also have an enrichment day on Mondays. So we use the Mondays for many different things: field trips, extra tutoring that I do 12 to 2 for the older students in math and sciences as they need it. And I've also done Zoom calls to help them. But here's a cranberry bog field trip here in Plymouth. We have cranberry bogs all over. What a great trip that was on that Monday. Next slide. We had Enrichment Day at Plymouth Patuxent, the plantation. That happened to be 2 Mondays ago when the weather got to 79 degrees, and it was phenomenal. The kids had a great time, great learning adventure, applied themselves in so many different ways. So we're using that day as a supplement to kind of give some fun, camaraderie, and really to enrich the academic side of the house and to give them a break too. And we do it in the afternoon so the parents can still execute Monday's program and in the afternoon go there. Next enrichment, we just did the continent party with My Father's World. They have several continent parties throughout the year. So the kids were able to display all the things that they'd been working on up to this point. So we're 10 weeks into this curriculum, and I have to tell you, I am absolutely stunned and amazed at the level of work of our students and our coaches. Even the K through 12, the things that they do. My wife is part of that team too. And for the K through 2, the projects they do. I wish I could show you the slides even from today, the pictures of corn husk dolls that they made today, talking about pilgrims with regard to a Thanksgiving coming up. So Continent Party, many more to come. In fact, this was so successful last Monday that our pastors, we are going to bring this to the church lobby, our next big one for Europe, to show the congregation exactly what the children are doing. A lot of them are very interested. Next slide. And then just to show you some of the things and how that we're able to incorporate the things around the local area, the flora and fauna scavenger hunts, studying, like bird's nest and what they use to do that as part of lessons of from the Bible. All right, thank you for the slides. One of the things I wanted to say is our operating expenses are very, very limited. We do pay our coaches, but we set that up in discussions with My Father's World because there were some legal things involved. We are a ministry for the church, so we are associated with the church. We are a youth ministry, and so from a legal standpoint, it just worked out also for paying them for other aspects that I could get into at another time. But many of the coaches have opted to donate the money right back. So right now I'm paying 4 coaches at a nominal fee, $20, $25 an hour. So we're able to cover that with our tuition in how we set up the curriculum and tuition costs for the year. Very good. It's worked out wonderful, and we're doing well in that department there. And so well, in fact, we're able to help out with scholarships from some parents. Parents have noticed an incredible improvement from their students in their attitude, motivation, and general well-being from what they were experienced in public schools last year. We did a survey 3 weeks ago, then followed that up with a meeting with all the parents. And I can tell you that several of the parents have noted that even though it was tough at first to go from public to homeschool, the stereotype, stigmatism, their friends, they have noticed a marked improvement in the students helping each other, helping the younger students, participating, the Bible study portion of it. All those things are going in. You can see the development already. And the toughest part has been, and it's no lie, the students who didn't homeschool before. It's a bigger change for them. Many of our parents already homeschooled before, so it's not as difficult, but we're working together. We have parents that are driving other parents who can't drive their kids because of work. It's working out phenomenal. Enrichment Mondays are the biggest highlight. We're getting better in fine tuning the schedules. The parents, I noticed, are stepping up more and more. One of them took on those Enrichment Monday continent parties. We have more that are volunteering for other duties, ones that come in the afternoon to help out. I think one of the biggest things that we found is the 8 coaches we have, we need them for 25 students. The curriculum, their learning levels, the IEPs, all those things add up to, we need volunteers. So that's why I chuckled at the beginning when I said we are at 25 instead of the 50 we thought. Thank you. We'll see as we go forward. We may get more volunteers once we learn to ask for what we need. I need a chemistry teacher, but I'm loving it. I love chemistry, and I'm learning it all over again, and it's going great. And the last thing I did want to say is about we do have a web page set up through our church website. So we do have www.newhope.com/learningpod. So I can put that in there. So we are taking more students, but we're targeting them. I'll take more in the high school side, but I think we're maxed out right now in the younger. So I think 25 this year until we get into our new church, one that's being built down the road here. We're fine there. And then the last thing I did want to say was, those are all the successes. My biggest concern, and I know Homer, Adam Rondeau, I know they can address these a little bit better. Parental involvement and discipline to do the work, these homeschoolers to stay on top of it. We've noted, that the curriculums we chose are really put together phenomenally. But it's the level of involvement that the parents are able to do. Some parents even aren't home with the children all the time, and it goes to grandparents, neighbors. So, but they are so adamant about pulling their kids out of school. That's our biggest concern, but guess what? That's why we are the support group and are there for them. And so as Christ followers, we have found that it's unbelievable how we're all working together to get these children through. And that's our biggest concern, but also one of our biggest highlights. So thank you
Awesome.
very much. Any questions? We'll talk to you later about that. Thanks, Michael.
Awesome, Steve, thank you so much. And yeah, so encouraged just to see, it's kind of like if you build it, they will come, right? You build it and then you see the church get behind it, and then it takes on its own momentum, right? It's just, you got to start it. You're not always going to see who's going to get involved until it gets started. So great job there in Plymouth. All right, let's travel north on 93 north till we get to 95 and go to Danvers. And we're going to meet up there with Great Rock and listen and hear from Pastor Nadworny what you're doing there at Great Rock in Danvers. Go ahead. And you have to unmute. Sorry.
All right, here we go. We good?
We got you.
All right, how you doing? Yes, we started Great Rock Christian Academy this year. It was a prayer of mine and a few of the pastors for 10, 15 years. And when we built our new facility, we always had in mind that we were going to eventually plan to make it a Christian school. We personally are homeschoolers. Me and my wife have homeschooled all 5 of our kids. And right now the school is operating as a homeschool co-op and as a Christian school without the final building approvals. And if anybody has questions about any of that stuff, you can come and ask me, because you got to be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. Do not let them tell you can't do something. Most of the time, the advocates in the town halls don't know the laws, don't know what you can and cannot do. So it's always been my philosophy. We're going to do it, and you show me in the bylaws and in the town why we can't do it. And up till this point, no one's been able to tell us that, because they don't. But they think that they do know. So you just got to be careful to navigate through some of that stuff. So now, since we have started a homeschool co-op in a Christian school, it's been a sacrifice for us because we're mainly homeschoolers. We put our kids in the school because we want to be all things to all men, because not everybody can homeschool. Not everybody can Christian school, but we're doing all we can to get as many kids out of the public schools and in some kind of Christian education. Luke 6:40 says, everybody when they're fully trained will be like their master. If your kids are discipled by Caesar, they're going to act like Romans, and that's just how it is. So we're doing all we can we go on the radio, we put blurbs out, pull them out of school. We'll do what we can to let them go for free, for nothing. The tuition is as cheap as possible. It's $5,200 for high school. It's $4,900 for K through 8. Right now we're operating from K through 12. We do have teachers that we pay menial $29,000, $30,000 a year. I think we started with 73 students or something of that nature. And it's challenging. It's difficult, dealing with the different personalities. Then you have people in your church, and because it's part of our church, and the kids that go to the church, it's all right when they're here for an hour or two on Sunday, but when they're here all week long, and then there's problems with them in the school, it causes division in the church and more spiritual warfare and all that. But you can't let that deter you. We're one body for the Lord Jesus Christ. We got to train the young minds, train the older minds, make disciples for Jesus Christ. It has been challenging. My assistant pastor is also my missions pastor, and his wife has an educational background. They kind of head up the school, the curriculum. I'm not big on that stuff. My wife did all the curriculum stuff when we homeschooled. I think Master Book, somebody mentioned, she did some of that. And I think they use here at the school, Abeka. Does that ring a bell? All right. Again, I'm just the guy with the heart and the vision. The people who put the vision to work are really the assistant pastor. His name's Igor Alexis and his wife, Andrea. And they really organized the whole thing. They hired the teachers, interviewed every student, every parent. that is now coming to the school. And we meet 5 days a week. We follow the school schedule with in the town that we're in. We follow the Danvers public school schedule, and we mirror that for our homeschool or Christian school. Again, wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. If you go on greatrockchristianacademy.org, what you'll see is choose your education path. One is you can choose the Christian school path, or you can choose the homeschool co-op path. And we did that for a reason, because we want to be all things to all men, to get them out of the public school. One of the main deterrents for Christians is, and again, it's hard to swallow, but we don't want our kids to miss out. What about sports? What about this? If you're enrolled in a Christian school or in a school, you cannot play sports for your town according to the MIAA rules in high school. So we find a way. Again, it sounds pharisaical and loopholes, but I don't care. We find as many loopholes as we can to make sure that our kids and our families are getting all their rights in Massachusetts. So what we have is choose your education path, meaning you want to register your kid as a homeschool co-op. Then we ask the parents to have a certain amount of involvement to make sure they're meeting the quota that for a homeschool co-op, if that makes sense. If you want to register your kid just to go to class like a regular Christian school, you can register your kid that way. So we kind of do everything we can to meet all the needs of the people. My kids, and we're familiar with this because my kids for years have played sports for the high school. That you can play when kids are little, they can play town sports anyway. But then when you get to high school, you can't play for the high school unless you have a homeschool path according to the Massachusetts bylaws. If you're registered in a Christian school and there's no football team or baseball team, they can't play. So what we allow people to do is, I have tons of text coming in. That's why I have to keep doing this. What we allow the people to do is choose their education path. And if it's the homeschool path, we allow them to do it a la carte, meaning they can pick the classes that they want from the school, even though we're running Monday through Friday in an regular school hours, 7:30 to 2:30. We have some kids that choose their education path as far as a la carte. We want them to do the history. We want them to do the doctrine class. We want them to do that. And for some of those students, it helps them because they want to play sports for the town. Some parents, they fully still homeschool at home, and then they want some help with math or algebra or this and that. So they'll pay for just those classes. We tell people money's not a problem. We'll figure it out. We do we do try to keep it as cheap as possible as far as the tuition. Again, $5,200 for high school, $4,900 for K through 8. But if parents don't have that, we have a system. We ask for W-2s, all those things to make sure everything's upright and honest. And if they can't afford it, we say, okay, you pay this much. Okay, you pay this much. Okay, you don't pay, but can you volunteer? Can you help tutor a kid? So we have some parents that they can't afford it, but what they do is during certain hours of the day, we know their skill set and their strong suit, and we'll have them help tutor kids. The younger kids with some of their math, some of their English. We'll have them help with some of the lunches that we serve. All those things. So we try to do all we can to get as many people in as possible. But again, regular school day starts at 7:30 for middle school and high school. They come in first. We start with the doctrine class. That would be my class. That's the only class I teach. That's the only class I know how to teach. All right. And so they come into the doctrine class, and then at 8:15, the other kids come in, K through 8. If they get there early, we have a little breakfast for the younger kids. But at 8:15, they come in and we all have chapel Monday through Friday together. The older kids, right after their doctrine class, are grouped with the younger kids. We have chapel together. And then after chapel, everybody goes to their separate classes. And there's 3 separate lunch times, depending on what grade level you're in. We dismiss the younger kids at the older kids at 2:15. We dismiss the younger kids at 2:30. And again, there's a lot I'm missing because I don't I'm involved in the school. I had the vision for it, but I don't run the daily operations. Pastor Igor and his wife do that. But again, I'm available. Anything, questions, especially with the town and navigating through building and building codes and what's lawful, what's not, what you can do, what you can't do, all those things. You can certainly reach out to me at Great Rock Church. You just go to greatrockchurch.org and you'll find my email. Email me. I will get back to you. Some of you have my cell phone number. Questions about the school, anything about the school, Great Rock Christian Academy.org. And then you'll be able to see our website also. There's a ton of stuff I'm missing and I'm forgetting, but I don't want to take everybody's time up. It hasn't been easy. Right now we're praying on, we own 8 acres right off of 95 and Route 1 and on a major route. And right now we're praying about leveling to make an athletic field for the kids. We're trying to put a gymnasium on the other side of the church to do all we can. And this is stuff that we don't have tons of money. We just have contractors in the church. I'm one of them. And we just get together and we pray and then we figure it out. So these are things you can pray for us for. So that's what I got.
Awesome. So encouraging, Pastor Daugherty, to hear what you're doing up there in Danvers. And yeah, we all have different gifts, right? I was just talking to my family about the 1 Corinthians, different gifts that we all have. And it's great to see your church using all those different gifts to bring it all together. So thinking outside the box, that's awesome. All right, well, let's go to Worcester and hear from Pastor Elise, who leads one of the largest Hispanic churches there in the city of Worcester, and they just started their learning center this fall. So go ahead, Pastor Elise.
Thank you, Mike. Well, it's a pleasure to be here tonight, and it's so encouraging to hear how so many churches and communities across Massachusetts are stepping up to the plate. It is definitely a season where we, as a church, should be united and come together and how we can help our children transition out of the public schools. And with that said, the name of our learning center that we started in September of this calendar year is Grow Christian Learning Center. And right now we have 6 students enrolled, kindergarten through 8th grade. And there's some pictures on the slides. My role is really to help facilitate the process and get the school up and running, but really the mastermind behind the day-to-day functions of the Learning Center is our sister Elizabeth Lopez. She has an education background, also education in human services, and it's been great to have her leading the day-to-day functions of the Learning Center. We meet every day, 5 days a week, 8:30 to 2:30 p.m. The day typically, similar to everybody else who's spoken this evening, we start off in prayer and worship and a devotional in the morning. It's important to start the day, with those fundamentals, and that is what a lot of the kids in our public schools are missing out on. So we are thankful that we can start the day with prayer and in the Word of God. So after that, then the kids, similar to those that have spoken, there's independent learning, there's coaching in the classroom. We have a mother who volunteers as well, who helps us with the younger students, and then Elizabeth or myself or other people in the team will work with the middle schoolers and those in 5th grade. So it has been a great adventure. Similar to what has been said, it has been a journey, challenges, right? You're working with families that have never homeschooled before. The curriculum we're using is master books, and it can be challenging. There is a lot of material required. We're seeing that the science aspect of the curriculum is a little more rigorous, and we're working through those challenges as we become more familiar with the curriculum. nonetheless, it has been such a joy to see these children create great bonds, learning the Word of God. We have art day on Wednesdays. We have a volunteer that comes in every week and does art projects with the children. We have parents that have come in and done special days, career days. So this month we talked about health, how to take care of our bodies. We've talked about heroes in our community. We had a parent come in who served in the U.S. Army, and she was able to speak about that experience. And my husband, who's also the pastor and a former firefighter, has also come in to speak about, fire safety and what it is to be a fireman. So it's great to be able to offer different, things to learn throughout the day. That's not necessarily the day-to-day that our kids would be learning if they were in the public schools. So what I can say is that I encourage families to step up and take a leap of faith. Take a leap of faith. It's not easy to say, okay, I'm going to transition my child out of the public school into some environment that is, foreign to you. But I do want to encourage parents to think about, what are your children learning in the schools? Get involved, start seeking out what is being taught in the classroom, and you're going to see that it's not necessarily what you thought it was. And I thank MFI, I thank Adam Rondeau for their influence in helping us get to this point. And we are thankful. The city of Worcester is one of the toughest cities right now in terms of sex education. Parents have not, many parents that we serve in our community have never homeschooled and really don't know what homeschooling is. So that is our challenge right now. But we are promoting ourselves. We have Facebook. We have our own Facebook page. We have a link on our church website, Centro de Adoración Vida Nueva, or New Life Worship in English. And I think Mike has the details of our email. If you have any information, our curriculum is paid within our tuition fees, a very nominal fees. It's about $72 a week per child. We've tried to make it as affordable as possible, knowing that we are serving an inner city community. Many families cannot afford private education, so we have tried to do as much as we can to be able to open our doors and this resource to just really reach our kids for Jesus, number one, and to have a better sound education. So thank you. Thank you, Mike, for this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, Pastor Elise. So encouraging, guys. One of the largest Hispanic churches, Nueva Vida in Worcester, started a learning center, and then one of the largest Hispanic churches in Boston, in Somerville, started a Christian school as well. So it's great to see the immigrant community, like Pastor Elise said, not as familiar with homeschooling, but seeing the concerns in the public school. Worcester, just to encourage you guys, 3,800 kids got out of sex ed, opted out of sex ed last year. Already 3,600 kids this year opted out again. This year, 1,000 kids left the Worcester public schools in the past 3 years. So, Worcester is really an epicenter for this public school exit and also the exit from sex ed. So great to see what you guys are doing there. All right, so we've been to Plymouth, we've been to Danvers, we've been to Fitchburg, we've been to Worcester, and now we're going to go farther west on the Pike to Westfield, and we're going to hear from Jean from New Life and what you guys are doing there with your learning center. So go ahead, Jean, unmute yourself and tell us what's going on at your learning center. I think you're trying to figure out how to unmute yourself.
Okay. I am trying to figure out how to unmute myself, and then hold on, I had something written up just to kind of follow along. Hi, my name is Jean Powell Wilson, and I helped to start the Westfield Learning Center. Obviously, it's in Westfield, located very conveniently on the Pike. So we have, we started last September, and we have an enrollment of about 50 students. So this was a total surprise, but we just did the best that we could because we understood that our focus was to protect the kids. So our mission is to establish a co-op where homeschooling families can come together to share in the learning experience with parents and or guardians functioning as guides to help instruct and facilitate their child's education. And I would say that we're at a church and there is a biblical worldview, but our curriculum is selected to be more, I don't know if secular is the word, but more academic. But I see it this way, even though, and this was intentional, they didn't necessarily want like a specific class on Bible. They wanted not to do a Christian education, like it's not a Christian school, but we will have a biblical worldview. And so I see it as I think of it as a table setting. So they know, and there are different aspects of the Bible or different scriptures that might be woven into the curriculum, and people treat each other with grace. That's Jesus is our standard. And so I think of it as the table setting. You can't really get away from it. It's seen throughout. That's our purpose. But because we're trying to appeal to a wide variety of people, not just Christians. If parents are in the public schools, chances are they're not always or not necessarily Christian. So, but this gives them an option to kind of come on this ramp and just merge into this option where they have another way out. And so that's why it's with this intention that this center was started. But as you can see, and as I'm hearing from other people, no matter how many people you get together, there are always things to work on. Let's just put it that way. Even when you are very like-minded, there are always things to work on. So imagine that we have some varying differences, even with philosophies in homeschooling, philosophies on curriculum. So anyways, it makes the whole thing very interesting and quite an adventure. Let me just go back a little bit. Your question about the operations is how many days a week do we meet? We meet only 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from 9 to 2 p.m. And the parents are involved, and we expect the parents to volunteer a minimum of 6 hours to help coach the kids at the center and to continue homeschooling their kids on Tuesdays and Thursdays to reinforce what the children are learning at the center. In addition, parents are responsible for teaching subjects that we are not able to do at the co-op. And we emphasize to the parents that they are in charge and the co-op is not a school. We're coming alongside them to provide support, provide a way, provide a structure, a format, but they are the ones in charge. They have to assess, they have to assess their children's progress. They are the ones that need to get extra tutoring for their children if needed, but they are the ones. And we are realizing that we have to make that message clearer. I think something got a little unclear, but so as we realize, as we're going along, we're realizing, okay, we need to make that really clear just from the start and just continue. So what does a typical day look like? So here's some examples for K through 2 and also grades 6 through 8. So K through 2, from 9 to 2, they start with reading club, then they have snack recess. Then moving beyond the page is a unit study in science, part 1 and part 2. So it has concept, and then there might be a practical application. Then there's lunch and recess, then math club, and specials that might be music, gym, or art. And the math club, and we also have reading club, they're different than classes because the primary responsibility of reading or math is on who? The parents. So they may bring their curriculum, and we also recommended the curriculum for reading like Abeka, and I think there was a curriculum recommended for math as well. So the children will come in with their curriculum or the recommended one, and then we do maybe a concept, maybe 10 minutes in the beginning, and then they do their individual work, and coaches can jump in to help and assist as necessary. Specials we call music, gym, or art. Then there's also grades 6 through 8. So from 9 to 2, there's history, part 1, math club, snack and recess. Then there's junior anatomy, lunch and recess, and then literature and writing, part 2. And then specials could be gym, choir, home economics, and Spanish. And they just depend on what the coaches are interested in, what their specialties are. How many students are attending? I'd said around 50 students. What are the academics like? Our main goal is to protect the children, but I believe we have a very good academic program given the fact that our coaches are homeschooling parents. And we do have a lot of other folks that don't have children that have stepped up to just volunteer in the community. A lot of grandparents, a lot of retired folks, just a lot of people that are very passionate about protecting the children, even though their children aren't even in the learning center. Let's see, my own children are not in the center. They graduated high school and they graduated college already, but I feel very passionate about this and feel that it's important to make a way for the children. Let's see. I see that the children, they really enjoy being together. That's the biggest thing I see. They really enjoy just each other, and they're learning. And even the high school students, I know there's some people on this call that are some coaches that are in the high school group, and I've heard some good positive feedback about the high school students. But at all ages, I think we're gelling together as a community. And then how have parents and students responded to the Learning Center? I would say that most of the parents that I've interacted with are very grateful. They understand, the work behind it. And they're just happy to be part of the center, and they're very pleased with what we're offering. However, there's also a group of parents within the center that wants more academically, or they don't share the same teaching philosophy that we've chosen for the center. And so this, of course, has caused a number of issues for us, and we're in the process of addressing some of the issues with those parents. So, and how do people get in touch with our Learning Center? First, just check out all the blog posts on this website, westfieldlc.wixsite.com/home/blog. If you are on Facebook, you can join our group, facebook.com/groups/Westfield Learning Center. Maybe I can put that in the group chat, or I can just forward it to you, Michael. Yes, are we still accepting new students? Yes, we're continuing to accept students. There is already a waiting list, but we noticed that people come in, then some people realize it's not a good fit, and then some people leave, or for various issues. And so we just continue to have people. There's still people that are calling, that are calling this month and asking about availability. So I would just encourage parents that are interested just to call, and please contact Lori at 413-568-1588. And then, let me see, anything else that would be interesting, just make sure that the families understand that the co-op is not a school, and the expectation of the co-op or learning center are clear, and that parents understand their role. So I think that sometimes parents think that it is a school, and so they come in with preconceived ideas about, well, this is what the school should be, maybe based on their experience. Well, schools should have a budget, or schools should have, I'm going to ask all these things, but we're all volunteers. Oh, one thing I neglected to mention, the cost of this is $300 per student per year. $300. I know some parents are like, is that a joke? But we just wanted a little something. And as we do rely on donations too. We encourage, sometimes there might be art supplies needed or different things that come up. And we're going to, as we're going along, we're realizing we're reevaluating this as well. But we wanted to, at least Pastor Wayne and Gail, they wanted to really make this affordable for families and not let that be an obstacle. They just have amazing hearts. And anyway, so we're trying to make it all work, because there is the reality of, things cost. But at any rate, we're trying to do the best we can and put that all together. So we do want to say that if churches are willing to open up their doors, this is a very inexpensive way to protect our children. It's not easy. So it's very important to have a strong spiritual team to lead the project. And we've had many battles along the way, but we see God helping us through it. So I just think that this is just a really amazing time to be doing this for, I think it's important to feel that you're called. And I know parents might be feeling like they're not sure, but I really do see that if you really understand what's happening in the schools, this is really a great opportunity to try it out and just encourage people to call and explore this possibility for parents. And then just for other churches, other church leaders that are really thinking about this, other parents, I think that, just continue to pray and see what God is calling you to do. And, I think God puts it on your heart to want to protect the kids, and you'll know. So thank you.
Amen, Jean. Thank you for sharing that. And I am going to just share here again. If you guys can text the word school option to 87891, you'll get a bunch of these options you've heard about tonight, many more. We're working with 30 churches starting learning centers. There's also Christian schools, homeschooling options. So if you text the word school option, you'll not only get that information, but you also will get a link to our events page where you will see this. So you've heard from the leaders of these 5 learning centers tonight. Our next step is to do open houses, kind of a show and tell, where you can in person visit these locations and see for yourself what they're doing. And you'll see the locations and dates there. The only one we haven't scheduled yet is the one in Fitchburg. So as you guys can see, so many different looks and feels of, what is going on with these learning centers. Some meet 1 day a week, some meet 2 days a week, some meet 3, 4, 5. Like they're doing in Danvers, a school option, a homeschool option, for good reason. So, what I've been so inspired by tonight is just seeing the village of the church, right? Value the family as the core, entity to educate, but that the church is coming to support the family, right? And you guys have started these learning centers and you're seeing people come out of the woodwork saying, hey, I like what's going on. I want to be a part of this. And you're, like Jean said, building community, right? Within your church, within your town, within your city. And what better way to do that through the education of kids? Just so inspired by what you guys are doing. It is hard work, but it's worth it. And, I encourage you guys that are listening tonight. Look, there's just so many reasons to leave the public school. We know it's difficult. It's been ingrained in our culture, right? But there's just so many things, that these schools are teaching for 40 hours a week, that many of our kids are coming home and saying, Mom and Dad, you're out of touch regarding your traditional understanding of human sexuality. You're out of touch regarding your understanding of how the world was created. All these different things that Mom and Dad, you're abusive to me because you won't accept my thinking about my own gender. Just crazy things happening in our public schools. So Massachusetts Family Institute wants to be there to support you, to network for you. So if you're in any town or city, we probably have a good connection for you regarding a learning center that's going on. Some of the chat was disabled for a lot of this, so sorry about that. I did enable it about 15 minutes ago. So I know we're over time. If you have any questions, comments, I've tried to answer some of them tonight. But please just email me at michael@mafamily.org, michael@mafamily.org. Any questions you might have, again, text the word school option to 87891. That's really the best way you can get information. And then we can then text you information on this because you'll be in our system to get this information to you. Okay. So please do that. Yeah. So Susan just posted the Mass Hope Convention. This is the annual I'm just reading some of these texts. This is the annual homeschool convention. So if you're not familiar with Mass Hope, wonderful organizations, been in Massachusetts for a very long time. And they are really the homeschool organization where you can, if you go to this convention, it's unlike any other convention you've ever been to. Curriculum, people that consult you, everything you want to know about homeschooling, go to that convention. So look at the chat there for more information on that. But I want to just thank our panelists tonight. And I also wanted to let you guys know that we are recording this. So we will be sending this out by email tomorrow, so you can review it and send it out to others. But join us for our tour, for our Learning Center tour this winter, 2023. Three of these seminars, these tours will be in March. One is in February, and then we still have to schedule the 5th one. Okay, but really exciting to see what's going on. I hope you guys were encouraged and educated tonight, and we'll be sure to hopefully see you this winter at one of these 5 locations. Okay, so just a big thank you to the panelists, a big thank you to everyone that attended tonight, and we'll continue to be in touch. We'll continue to put on these webinars to encourage you, to educate you, and give you the tools you need to raise your children so that they will not lose faith, but that they will be men and women strong in their faith. That is really, we always think about what Solomon says in Ecclesiastes. The whole sum of it is to fear God and keep his commandments. So that's what we're aiming for here. So anyway, thanks guys, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, Michael.